Hi, Capricorn rising. Okay, so I guess you could also look at this for Capricorn. Well, anywhere Capricorn if you want, but the rising is going to be where we're speaking of. Sun and moon will be significant and relevant here, very much so. So Saturn and Pisces from 2025 until June 2027. So for you, this will be happening in your third house. Remember that it commences here with Neptune, Venus, Mars. Oh, dang it. Saturn enters this space the end of March 2025. This will be with Neptune, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Moon, and Rahu, or the North Node. That is a huge whammy in your third house. It also coincides with the eclipse. We did a collective, like a larger reading on the Saturn and Pisces, which I highly suggest. I'll remember to link it below. That explains a little bit more of the overall energy of it and how we're working. It's helpful because I'm not going to be able to go into all of that here at this time. So Saturn in the third. I like Saturn in the third. It makes a very smart person. It makes a person a little bit more, actually can create like a stutter or a speech impediment. But it's more of it kind of stops itself from talking. It wants to listen. And it being through Pisces, this is listening intuitively. So that your intuitive abilities could become more sharpened. Now, as Saturn is your ruler, your Saturn houses are really important, which, again, we're looking at Capricorn rising, we're looking at your first house, second house, and now your third house are all highlighted. That bigger piece of the pie is huge. So I don't feel like you're going to have a difficulty in learning, but it is sort of slow and steady wins the race. Maybe even just the pace of your talking, your speaking, may become more mature, right? Not that you can't be excitable, right? Pisces is mutable, but it's coming to feeling more settled in your body so that when you're speaking, there's more ease in it. So the explanations or what you're trying to get across is understood easier. There's pauses between. It's okay to pause between. It doesn't mean that you don't know. Or that you're stupid if you have to pause. That actually shows a lot of intelligence and self-control. Right? Did you know, for instance, they don't generally hire people for the radio that have too high of IQs? No offense to any radio host, but in ways of the actual talk show host, because really highly intelligent people pause after they receive information because they're processing it, and then they speak. But on radio, you can't have this gap in between, so you get the fun guys on it. You know what I mean? The entertainers. This is not an entertainer. This is like a teacher. So, and actually, as this is the house of learning, throat chakra all day, and also cigarettes. Pluto through your first house and for some more time is definitely having you focus. Luckily, this isn't on your angle anymore. So, back to it. There's an authority. There comes to be an authority about you, or a person recognizes their own authority. Someone recognizes your authority, and they respect you. You respect them, they respect you. That's the exchange, or that is what is wanted. Um, I feel like you're realistic on this. Like during this period, probably more methodical. Um, Part of the reason you want to be quiet and listen, also that space between, is because this will protect you from being gullible if you happen to have a little strong in you. You know, because to me, Capricorn rising really wants to trust other people and feel connected to them, but there's always this wall, you know? It's, to me, it's the sign of like the general or the colonel. It's a very serious person. I see the larger groups that you're a part of, especially through, there's something about this until September 2025. Vesta will be in your 11th house, and then she'll enter into your 12th. I think Vesta stays for 9 months. Most of the goddesses do. It makes sense, as feminine, right? Energy. But the groups that you're a part of, especially like spiritual groups, that the groups that you're dedicated and devoted to, there will be some question to that. If things aren't working in a way that feels good to you, but I heard take it easy until June, and then again September. It's almost like in the autumn you could make some different decisions about something. I feel like you already figured something out from spring until fall. Or parts are already in place, so you don't have to really sweat that. Except use patience in the very beginning. So from this eclipse, when Saturn enters Pisces, until, again, June. Like May, because we want to give it a little bit after the node shift, so June. That's when a lot of things happen, and that's the point. Because part of this Saturn in Pisces to me is about dedication and devotion. And so is Vesta. So this could also be highlighted in your map. You may only stay in your neighborhood for the next 2 years, or like one particular neighborhood, or something might keep you there. For some of you, this could also feel a little restrictive if you're already in that zone where you don't really go too far, except for like little short trips to the grocery store or to work or whatever. So if you're feeling tampered, tampered in, then this might be, I'm going to take a short trip somewhere for a reason, Saturn. There's a class happening, or there's a pool nearby, or there's a lake nearby. Let me go swim in it. Relations with siblings could be a little bit tricky, or you might just be at a distance from them. It's not that you're not soulfully connected, but there might be like physical boundaries between things, or just, sometimes Saturn in the third to me is really, because it's the house of communication. With Saturn there, it's like it likes writing letters, sending a postcard, sending a Christmas card. That's how discussions can happen. I would definitely limit your texting, or I don't know if you like to talk on the phone, but it's sort of like being more efficient, again, in your communication. I don't know if we already said this, it's not like you can't just shoot the shit, and be fluid about it, Pisces, but it's kind of like, okay, this is draining my energy. Let me disconnect from this. Recharge. Now, third house is also the house of the self-employed, a self-employed house. So some of you could be like incorporating more of spirituality into your job, or maybe you have maybe you read tarot on the side, or you're an energy worker, or some kind of healing modality. Some of you may actually decide to not do that during this time, where you're like, I'm going to focus on... You may decide to change your focus, I guess is the point. If you already work in that field, or work for yourself, I mean, some of you could just be a plumber of Saturn and Pisces. That's a plumber, plain and simple. It's a humble job. You gotta deal with the shit and the pipes and all that, but they get paid really well, right? So maybe some of you are taking like a really, actually Capricorn rising with this. Oh yeah, of course you could. You're probably meant to have a really practical job. You know, so if some of you again are in some kind of world, maybe you get a practical job too, or you're trying to turn something, figure out how to excuse me, turn a dream into a reality. I mean, shoot, it's also the house of ability. So, like, for instance, some of you don't know how to swim very well. You might take swim lessons. I'm seeing someone swimming in a pool again. Or in a pool of water. If you notice anything about the plumbing and where you live, especially if you own the house, I feel like you're going to pick up on little things before it actually happens. Because 2 years from now, you'll have to fix some things in the house. Because Pisces is water, but Uranus just entered into this 4th house. So some of you could actually consider moving after this transit is done. Like finally settle in somewhere. Like if you have been moseying, then this you can, I guess you could continue to mosey for another, like be vagabond about something for the next 2 years, but I don't think that's, I think you want to work, it's being suggestive to work towards being focused, right? Saturn in the 3rd is, I'm going to focus, I'm going to learn about, because it does take a little, because to me, Saturn in the 3rd is like, you end up being, you can become not exactly a master of something, and it's not exactly a savant. How do I explain it? It's like you already have the ability, but you don't, like, but it's kind of hidden to you. Like, you might have an interest, but you don't know that you actually have an ability to yield something from that. And those of you that have been yielding from that, you recognized your hidden talent, maybe put some energy, put a slow motion into building it or working towards it, and now it has a structure. I guess it could feel kind of restrictive in that way. So a person's trying to see, like, can this hold water? I heard, does it make sense when I say what I say? Because Saturn in the 3rd is also a very wise person to me. And Capricorn rising is always an old soul. You know, like you hold anybody that has anything in Capricorn, it's so powerful in ways of the past life energy or like family line kind of energy. So I guess you're meant to think about your strategy. You know, I was reminded, I don't know why I went back here. Well, actually, yeah, I do, but that's my business, so I'm not going to share. But there was this old Capricorn reading called Master Plan, and Master Plan, love has no bounds. And I think right now, maybe someone's master plan came true. They've completed something. And then it's like, now what am I going to do? Now that I've learned to discipline myself and to figure out how to be efficient about this and thorough about this, I've put a lot of focus into this, and it's obviously natural for you to be practical. It's kind of like a person may be asking themselves also karmically, maybe, like, because this is squaring your 12th house. It's like, is what I'm doing still right for me? What I'm able to do, is that still what I'm meant to do? And then I'm seeing someone sort of being creative with that Pisces, and it's like, well, how do I explain it? It's less about the physical things that you do. It's about the why you do them. I honestly feel like this is going to be an easy transit for you. You know, maybe some of you are getting serious and you're finally, I'm seeing someone with a bunch of paper, like loose papers and notes, and they're finally going to like write their book. I wouldn't say this is the time exactly for publishing, but writing it and getting kind of like, it could just be a first draft, but I feel like you could get, if you wanted to, you could get to a final draft about something. But have patience with that, because Saturn's all about punctuality, right? Being punctual, being precise. Let me see. I guess your mother, depending on your age, and not to scare you, it's just this is a natural thing, but some of you, I guess your mother could be getting very old. I mean, Saturn doesn't always represent death, but to me, he's sort of life and death. But if, or there's again, there's like difficulty with siblings. And I guess if it's hard to communicate, well, I guess it depends if you have anything in your third house. Because remember, whenever Saturn's approaching a planet, it's going to create stress on that planet. Right? So say it's going over Mercury, for instance, it could be like, I'm stupid. You know, like, I really get down on itself, really negative thinking. Or it just doesn't believe that it can communicate for some reason, but it can. So you could receive an inheritance, or you may not, some of you may just not feel secure financially either, even if you had a bunch of money. Especially when Rahu starts to go into Aquarius. It's like, oh, some of you could quit smoking just like that, if you're smokers. Or like because Rahu is fog, and it moving into Aquarius, it can, I guess it could make it foggy. Oh, that's what I saw, is like maybe a mom or like your grandma or somebody in the family starts to get like Alzheimer's, or they're starting to become forgetful. I mean, I guess for some of you that could be menopause. So a thing that might also become valuable to you is quiet, right? Peace. Saturn in the third is silence. So that could also be like when you're creating, when you are being and at times doing, it's very much Virgo up in the ninth house is like, I like to do this in silence. Or maybe there's like a really soft, I don't know, I'm hearing like religious sort of like hymns or sounds in the background, like gentle though, gentle. I'm seeing the bare feet for you in the ground. This is like someone with the mud between their toes, and the mud was black. So it was really rich. Some of you just need to fine-tune something. And I guess realize, ask what you need to let go of that has to do with what you've already previously established. Okay. It could be a little hard to connect to neighbors too. Or you could almost see like where someone lives by the ocean but they never go see it. You know, they live by a lake but they never swim in it. I guess some of you could there is somewhere close to you though where the water touches the land. And I feel like that's where you can if your mind starts being too-minded about, you start becoming too-minded about something, you're swirling around about it. Too much thinking, not enough feeling, like being in the body, then try to find that place near you again where the water meets the land. If you can, take off your shoes if you can. This is also the house of the arms, so I would also say that I'm actually seeing someone do like prayer hands, but it's anything to sort of Saturn in the third is to strengthen the arms, could make you feel better too. Again, your feet, your arms, your teeth, your bones and joints. You know, maybe the short trips with Saturn is, I'm going to walk. You know, Saturn's a dedication, again, and devotion. It's like, I'm going to walk in my neighborhood for 30 minutes a day. Maybe 15 before work, 15 after work, however you want to do it. I mean, you decide the rules, and I see with Pisces you can be creative about it, but that could also be something, you know, speed walking. Because that's also going to help the square of Sag in your 12th house to keep that root chakra open and kind of fluid, because I'm guessing that's always been a little stiff for you. Okay. I hope this was helpful. Feel free to share or ask any questions if you have them. And if you're brand new here, welcome to this garden. If you don't have a copy of your chart, I assume most of you do, but if you don't have a copy of your chart, feel free to email me and I will take a snapshot for you. I usually add some extra stars and things like that and give you the elemental breakdown so you can learn that way too, right? Because that's really important. I mean, you are Earth rising. The star we're focusing on is ruled over by Earth, and now it's in the water. But you know what? That gives bounds to the water, right? We want to hold the ocean in. If we didn't, we'd have a flood, right? So the structure is really important. But I sense you already know that. You're Cap rising, or even Sun and Moon. You naturally have this structure, you know. So maybe it's now like, okay, again, does this hold water? I'm going to fill up the pool. And if it doesn't for some reason, see what you can do to fix it. And if you are meticulous in trying to fix it and you put your, again, devotion to that and it doesn't work, well then it's also okay to move on, right? Be practical about where you're putting certain things, because wherever Saturn is, we're meant to be conservative also, right? Less is always more when it comes to Saturn, and particularly in this transit. Again, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces house for you, 1, 2, 3, is where it's asking you to conserve your energy. It doesn't mean that there's less of something. It just means that the value is better and less is more. Okay. Hope this was helpful. Peace out.